This week, we're on the final stretch for this build series. I started things off by completing the expansion section of the cattle and sheep enclosure, building up the contours of the terrain for the windmill hill, and keeping with the olive green highlights for the lower ground and the medium nougat highlights above to reflect the wetter and drier look respectively. I built another section of the flexible zipline fencing for this half of the enclosure, as well as placing more animal figures to fill up this area. I will be adding more details to this enclosure later on, along with other finishing touches for the diorama in general. The final vacant spot to work on is this area behind the wheat field. I decided to build another forest since we now have a diagonal formation of buildings lining this diorama, as well as hills on opposite corners. So having forests on the other opposing corners reinforces the symmetrical look. But since the trolls are heading towards this forest, I wanted to give it a look of decay, as if the presence of the trolls here is causing the forest to wither due to their dark magics. To me, sand green gives a sense of moldiness which is suitable for this decaying forest. I placed a lot of mushrooms in this forest for that effect as well. I used a greater ratio of the dark orange tree leaves here compared to the other forests and left many of the branches leafless, since these trees are starting to wither away. In the previous episode, the captain had a hunch that the trolls weren't just merely here to steal livestock, since it all looked too well coordinated. Looks like he was right. They're setting up an ambush. There's even some orcs here as well. We'll have to wait and see what happens at the end. For now, let's continue building. All that's left to do is to finish up the botanical details for this half of the MOC and covering up the sides of the diorama. This hilly part of the diorama is drier, so I didn't go too heavy on the botanicals, but I gradually made it more lush closer towards the river. Unbeknownst to the surface dwellers, there are dwarves mining gems right under their noses. I wonder if these dwarves are aware of the escalating conflict up above. I decided to place this little Easter egg here under the hill instead of just having plain looking paneled sides. time to cover up the sides and finish up this MOC. I normally use brackets to build the sides, but for this MOC I wanted to try something different. I had quite a few of these bricks with a built-in Technic pin from sets that I parted out, which should work well. This way of building the sides is much faster, since I plan on building larger dioramas for upcoming build series. The bracket method required too much time and pieces to be practical for larger MOCs. The trap has been sprung. The guards are fighting valiantly, but there are just too many for a mere patrol unit to fend off. The Orcish raid leader noticed the captain sending off a rider to call for reinforcements. He tried to intercept the rider, but the captain and his unit held him off just long enough for the rider to escape. Whether reinforcements will arrive in time before this area gets razed to the ground is another matter entirely. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.